RJ, that didn't go as planned.
Oh,
so
certainly did not.
so much for me calling the Tampa Bay Lightning beatable. That really looks great now, doesn't it, everybody?
They looked anything but tonight.
Yes. Thanks everybody for being here for a rough ECH post game live presented by Queen Anne Beer Hall. No sugarcoating this one. We've got Afra here in her therapy dog duties.
Yeah, need her
Um,
early.
Yeah, because we knew this one was rough. 6-2 loss. I guess the one thing we could say is, RJ, at least we're not the Ducks who lost 7-0 to Toronto tonight. So
Oof.
we've got that one thing going for us. But otherwise, just a brutal night all the way around for the Seattle Kraken. Down early in this one and just never really able to get back into it. Like they just struggled in a lot of different ways, especially defensively. They definitely struggled defensively. Being down two defensemen, we knew that had the possibility of being the case. But yeah, Jamie Alexiak definitely feeling missed. Justin Schultz definitely feeling missed, and then the forwards also not necessarily helping out the most defensively tonight either for the Kraken.
Yeah, just all around. I mean, plenty to point out as far as areas of struggle tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely lots of stuff going on. Michael kicked us off in post-game chat here with 4 games of 5 goals or more in the last month. Defense and goaltending have to be better. I 100% agree with you, Michael. This is just like at the beginning of the year when we were seeing that many goals scored against us. It is a combination of factors. Grubauer let in some goals, but I felt that, for the most part, you got a couple that were a lot of traffic in front of him, one that was tipped. Jones lets in one that was tipped. That was a big deal for the Lightning tonight. Always having somebody in front, like that Stamkos goal, just the fact that he's able to hammer away and get 3 shots off at point blank range before anybody gets over to deal with him. These are just big deal defensive things where you're putting your goaltender in a position to fail, essentially. That Steven Stamkos thing, no goaltender is going to be able to survive that. The Chernak goal early on, you're just giving them this one-on-one against your goalie, and yes, Chernak makes a good shot, but like there's just nothing that your goaltender can do in situations like that. The first one where he's got a moving screen and somebody right there for a rebound, there's not a lot that goaltending can do when you don't give them the tools to do their job. I feel like this is a little bit different than last season where Grubauer was just more straight up leaky. This it feels more structural for the team as a whole when we see stuff like this.
Yeah, and to see it over and over again tonight, like we did too, in a few different ways, defending the net front, being physical, bodying guys up, that's been a theme. And I think the Chernak goal was probably most indicative just because you had numbers back. That
Yep.
was a 2-on-4 and then a 3-on-4 once Chernak joined
Yep.
the rush. There's no excuse to let such a high quality shot come out of that. That goes on the defense.
Right. And it's not even that one in particular.
Actually, not even the defense.
It's not
Yeah.
even the defense. Yeah, because you have Cale Fleury and Gustav Olsson out there, and Olofsson, he takes somebody at the net. He's one-on-one manning up the guy net front, pushing them out of the way. He's doing his job. Cale Fleury attacking the puck carrier. He's doing his job. What you have is all of your forwards literally almost touching each other. They are all 3 forwards are all just bunched up together. It looked like Jaden Schwartz didn't really know what was going on, and he's ultimately the one who just completely turns his back and misses Chernak entering the zone. That would have been his responsibility there to cover, to be the person to jump on Chernak and not give him that opportunity to get such a clean and solid look at the goaltender off there. And the forwards really let him down. Later on, you get a power play goal for the Lightning, and the PK. You have all 4 PK defenders all within 10 feet of each other, all shoved off onto one side of the ice. Like this is basic stuff. It feels very much like we are back to, oh my gosh, we are back to the early parts of the season, dude. We were back to the early parts of the season where the team, it's like this is stuff that again we coached Pee-wee kids on. Right? Like this is basic stuff that the Kraken are really struggling with here defensively. And at some point it's got to change. And if it doesn't change, we're going to continue to just need to outscore opponents, right? We're going to need to find ourselves in games where we got to score 5 or 6 goals just to walk out of there with 2 points.
Yeah. No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Yeah. Dear Alexiak and Schultz, we miss you, from Brian there. Definitely, I
It's
think we could
true.
all get on board with that one. Hunter, it is what it is. It is one of those games you just got to kind of take it and move on. Well, Grubauer didn't eat his Wheaties this morning. I argue almost nobody on the Kraken did. Outside of
Yeah,
maybe Yanni Gord.
nobody.
Maybe Yanni Gord, but that was about it. And maybe he had a little bit too many trying to go out there and pick a fight with Pat Maroon like that. Yeah, nobody did except Yanni. There we go from Sean. Clone Jared McCann makes Seattle. Ryan Donato's forever home from Striatic. Brian's on board with that. Leanne as well there. Tough game for the Kraken tonight, but there is an opportunity for growth from this game from Alex there. Agreed. You clean up those things defensively, this game looks very, very different. If you're not giving a really good team like Tampa looks where they can get bodies in front of the net, where they can get tips off, where they can, kind of do what they want to do in the offensive zone, where it looks like you're very much panicked and chasing the play, you get yourself out of that situation, you're fine. Kraken did a good job through a lot of this game of actually dominating possession, having long stretches in the Tampa offensive zone, Tampa defensive zone. I think that this is more of an example of the Kraken beating themselves tonight than anything.
Yeah, and as with those games, you can always have the takeaways that you break down in film study, and I think this is one that you're going to want to take a long look at.
Yep. Sean here with the super chat. Afro treats and RJ lozenges. On to the next one.
Thank you, Sean.
Can definitely make that happen here in a sec for you, Sean. Alex with the don't forget to forecheck the like button. Definitely like that. That's a good way of putting it. New one there from Alex. Sean, we won the face-off battle. The curse lives. There we go. That is definitely what it is.
Amazing.
It is crazy how that lines up. I will point this one out too, because I'm looking at it here on the NHL game screen. 3 giveaways for the Seattle Kraken tonight. Only 3. 17 for the Tampa Bay Lightning. You win the turnover battle like that, you should probably have a better result than losing 6-2.
And I can remember a lot of those Tampa turnovers too. The Kraken were forcing, a lot of them in the D zone too.
Yeah. Kind of off screen. Yeah, I totally agree. Sergeant Pickles tonight is Emerald City #Christmas Nails Therapy. Yes. Gotta be a Patreon member to know about that. Tonight was our live game commentary. We had a lot of fun watching this one, despite the fact of how the game turned out. We still all had fun.
We had fun watching that game. I mean, that should tell you everything.
Exactly. Duds from Sergeant Pickles, many, studs few. Not mad, just disappointed. I think that's a good summarization. Maderos, they look damn good, unlike the defense. Talking about the Christmas nails there. Ferris, tough game. Grubauer let us down with third goal. Went downhill quickly after that. Which one was the third goal? Because I just
was that the one where Dunn kind of got? Was that the Perry?
That was the Corey
goal?
Perry one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one was a rough one. If you were to give Grubauer an excuse, Vince Dunn does kind of screen him there with a moving screen. Like Dunn just kind of shoots right in front of him. But it was definitely. It was probably the softest goal that Grubauer gave up. Thinking about it, maybe the Braden Point one. The other thing I wanted to talk about was because the Kraken didn't seem like they wanted to entirely trust the Cale Fleury, Gustav Olofsson pairing. They were leaning heavily on Vince Dunn and Adam Larsson earlier on in the game. And what I think we saw was that they backed off of that as the game went on and as the result seemed less in question. But what I do think that happened from that is, and we talked about this on the live game commentary, was defense is one of the most mentally taxing positions in all of sports, and it can be just as mentally taxing as it is physically taxing because you're always trying to pay attention to your peripheral vision. You're always trying to keep track of where everybody's at, both offensively and defensively. You're trying to think of a lot of things at once. And it did seem like with both Vince Dunn and especially Adam Larsson on the Braden Point goal or on the Steven Stamkos goal, that Adam Larsson just got fatigued. and not necessarily physically fatigued, but mentally fatigued. And you see him, not go to body up Braden Point as Braden Point's coming in on him. Instead, he goes for a poke check, but he's a second late. With the Steven Stamkos thing, again, he just kind of reaches his stick out there. He's not trying to go and totally engage, and he's a little slow with his stick, slower than you'd normally see. And I think similar thing with that Corey Perry goal with Vince Dunn, because that was the one where you had Vince Dunn was that last fourth defender shorthanded to come in and just all group up on the one side, and he ends up being the guy who screens his goaltender there. And that is not typically, as a defenseman, you're not going to turn around and usually just kind of run through a shooting lane like that. And I think that was just a mental lapse from Vince Dunn in that moment, because Vince Dunn, I mean, Vince Dunn played half of the first period, right? Just to put it into context, it was
like
a lot
940
of
something, like almost exactly half.
Yeah, it was rough. So I just want to throw that one out there too, is I think that the defense, it's not just about, missing Alexiak and Schultz. It goes beyond just that, because it means that you run into these other situations. Because I actually thought Fleury and Olofsson handled things okay with what they had to do. Andy, I'm at work right now and was listening to the game, so I wasn't able to watch, but from the sound of it, I'm glad I couldn't watch. Rough loss. I was really expecting a closer game and a better turnout. It was, I think we all were, Andy, and yeah, if you were going to miss one, this might be one of those to miss.
Probably a good one to miss. Yeah.
Yep. Chris, before this road trip, I would have signed on for 500, still have that chance. Definitely true. That win in Florida was a big deal for this team. And, especially signing up for 500, knowing you're going to be without two defensemen. I think that's another thing that would go into this. That would lead us all to get on that same board there. Alex pointing out Anaheim a minus 60 now for the season. It's terrible. Wow. It's absolutely terrible. Gregory, pathetic performance, just pathetic. It definitely needed to be better, and I really thought it was going to be better against Tampa. Stefan was at the game tonight and loved seeing the boys in person, but that was a tough one to watch. Oof, sorry about that. That is a rough one.
Glad you were able to make it out, though. It's always fun, following the Kraken out to a road game. I still love being a road fan at a hockey game.
Yeah, and you know what? If you have the ability, go and check the Root broadcast. They were showing us plenty of Kraken fans there. Maybe you got out there on the Root broadcast. That's always something to look forward to when you're out there for these road games. Let's see. Unnecessary zippers. I only caught the last half of the game, but it looked like they could barely make a pass or catch one. Yeah, later on in the game, it was just rough. I think someone put it in the live game commentary, the third period felt like a billion years. It did at times.
I like your username there too, Unnecessary Zippers.
I like that too a lot. Yes. Let's see here. 45 people in here. I'm actually really happy with that. Thanks everybody for being here. After a rough game like this, an East Coast game, we always suffer a little bit from the East Coast games. 7:00 right now. If people still, commuting, having dinner, all that kind of stuff. So thank you everybody for being here with us, especially after a game like that one. Glad that we can, have this community and all be here together for these games. Cody, man, we looked so good for a second in the second for a bit there. Leave it to Tampa to take that away from us after they score late on a garbage power play. It was all downhill from there, man. I agree. We talked about this, right? Second half of the first intermission, second half of the first period, Kraken turned things around, looked really good. They used that intermission, that mid-period TV timeout well to their advantage. And I agree. Through the second period, it looked like this could turn into that first Capitals game. Kraken could totally get back into it.
Yeah, no, it did. I mean, that's what we were talking about, is that Caps game blueprint, right? And they were doing all the right things to chip away. But then, you start giving up a couple more goals and then it gets out of reach quickly, unfortunately.
Exactly. Let's see where we're going now. Chris, LA got spanked tonight, not a total loss. Exactly. That helps as well. We still got games in hand on them and Vegas, all that kind of stuff. So things in the division are looking okay. Alex, Hedman interview post game, that last goal we can't give up. Man was not happy.
Wow. But that shows the standards of excellence for a team like that. I mean, it's no accident that they're as good as they are. Any little error, anything like that, they're going to be on top of. And I mean, that's, that's what you have to do if you're a successful team.
Yeah, and you know what? All credit to them for getting those players to buy into that year after year for as long as they have to, right? Because you're talking about 100+ games a season with those postseason runs that they go on. That's
Mm-hmm.
that takes so much buy-in from those players, and it does help having leaders out there like a Victor Hedman to get that to happen. I mean, if you're going to take a tough loss, take a non-shutout loss against a good team on the road with players out. I agree with that sentiment, Sergeant Pickles. I think that that's definitely a way of doing it, and a nice positive way of looking at this as well. Stick taps to Yanni, not taking cred from any former teammates from Chris there. Yep, Yanni was definitely out there tonight, making his presence felt.
Yeah, Pat Maroon felt it, that's for sure.
Yes, and then of course we have the crazy Cal Foots Morgan Geeky thing issues going on
Yeah.
back and forth between those two teams. Definitely interesting stuff there. Thank you LGG for the super sticker there.
Yeah,
Definitely
thank you,
appreciate
LGG.
it.
Appreciate it.
Totally. I unfortunately I can't see it in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I
Let
can't.
me.
Oh, there,
I
there we go. It
I could
popped up.
show it
Nice.
there. I could show
All
it
right,
there.
cool. Yeah, leave it. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I can do that. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know we could do that.
Yeah, so we could do that, but I just can't while I'm in StreamYard here see what the sticker is. Apologies. I
Gotcha.
look forward to seeing it later. Or if you want to just regular message it in, we'll read it.
Yep.
Let's see. RJ and his gray poupon fancy Ludens.
Oh, come on. That's ridiculous. Don't worry about that. I would never.
Did you just roll down your window back there behind you there, and somebody driving by passed that through to you? Like, come on.
Came in clutch. Yeah.
Yep.
May have had that one
man.
around.
Oh man. Oh jeez. Sean, I mean, we just got out worse, slower, less physically, basically wire to wire, except Geeky and Yanni. Agreed. Geeky and Yanni were totally there for this one. Maddie as well. Maddie was out there hustling as he always does. Light, rough loss, but little shame in losing to one of the best in the league. As someone who came home in a Seahawks shirt as a baby in the 90s, I wasn't raised a Fairweather fan. On to Carolina. Love that from Light. Love all of this from the community. Like, this is, I just love this community so much. This is the stuff that we all do, and the way we can all interact and be there for each other after games like this, and just, yeah, come together. It's really awesome.
Oh yeah, that's the spirit.
Yep. Let's see. Yep, Kings lost. Oilers could still lose even though they're currently leading. It could be a wash in the fight for top 3 in the Pacific yet, from Striatic there. This stuff is also going to be something to look forward to as the season goes on too. It's just the fact that, yeah, if we're going to be hanging around in playoff spots, we get lots of stuff to look at on any given night. It really makes things that much more exciting. Let's see. Next games won't be easy. Hurricanes and Jets. Yeah, certainly the Hurricane game, because it's again going to be on the road. But after that, the Jets game's at home though, I think, so that should help. Although I guess if you look at
the
our
Jets
home
are
and road
doing
record,
very well this season, though. Surprisingly well. I was amazed to see where they are in the standings.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, they've been right up there with Dallas at the
number one in the West
division
by points percentage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're no slouches. And doing it with different guys too. Like, it's not like, Kyle Connor's like totally like lighting the lamp for them right now and stuff. He's been pretty bad actually through most of this year for him anyway. Interesting stuff. All right, so Alex been paying attention to the Tampa broadcast all night for us and letting us know they're interviewing Hayden Fleury, and this is a quote from Hayden Fleury: "Cal's never beaten me."
Wow, what a quote.
If we had known that, we would have been in there even harder to try to get the little brother win over big brother. But you know what? Next time, including RJ, when is the next time we're going to be playing the Tampa Bay Lightning?
Oh yeah,
that's
yep.
right. It's going to be on January 16th, where we're going to be having a live post game. I didn't fix the graphic for this. Sorry, everybody. I forgot to load it in because of the live game commentary. But we're going to be doing live post game after that game in Seattle at the Queen Anne Beer Hall. Looking forward to that. So we got to all show up. We gotta have a nice presence at Queen Anne Beer Hall at CPA and try to get Cal that win over Big Brother for the first time. We gotta
Clutch
do
on
it.
the graphic, Dylan. Good job.
Yeah, we gotta do it. It's good. Just a reminder about that, everybody. Let's see. Hayden taking credit for point and Stamkos, lol, from Chris.
Oh man.
That is so good. Where was the gusto from LGG? It was missing a little bit. Yanni had it. That's why Yanni hoarded it all for himself, and he brought it out when he decided to take on Pat Maroon solo.
Yeah, you need all the gusto when you attempt something like that.
Yeah. Grizza smash. Wow, the Kraken scored a second goal. Sorry, I bounced during the second. They did. It was actually a really sweet backhander from Ryan Donato. Like, I recommend going and checking out the highlight of it. It was really nice with 5 seconds
4
left
seconds
in the game.
left. Yeah.
Yeah. Bro Geeky throw him down in front of the goal from Evan there. I don't know what Morgan Geeky has against Cal Foot, but Morgan Geeky throws him to the ice. He tries to fight him later, and at the end of that kind of hug fest of a fight, you could just see Cal Foot's face just like, what is even happening?
What's your deal, man? Yeah. So that was interesting. Something going on between those two, or maybe one-sided. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know that.
It was definitely interesting. When Donato gets put in the box for roughing, whatever preceded that could not have been good for the Kraken from Brian there. Yeah. It was actually, he went after Ross Colton, who had laid out a big but clean hit on I can't remember. Well, Olofsson, I believe.
It was Olofsson. Yep.
Olofsson, yeah.
It was Olofsson, 100%. Yeah.
And then, yes, from that, as that was getting cleaned up, Yanni Gord just kind of goes after Pat Maroon. It was an interesting situation all the way around.
It seemed like everything had diffused there, too. It seemed like it was over, but then it wasn't.
Yep. Jake, RJ, have you tried Fisherman's Friend cough drops? They're the best.
Interesting. So I have not, but I've heard it recommended. I think it was last post game they were also recommended. So I'll keep that on my list. The thing is, I really don't like menthol. Menthol cough drops. So that's why I like the Ludens, is just because there's no menthol in them, and I know the menthol is useful and it helps, but I just I can't stand it. So anyway.
Yep. All right. I was gonna say this sounds like a very Seattle brand. Fisherman's Friend.
Oh yeah,
drops definitely sounds like it's on point for up there. John Cooper, now they carry that expansion mantra with them. They've won twice as many games as they've lost. So a little comp is it, I assume he's talking about the Kraken there, in which case that's a little bit of a compliment.
Yeah, I think so.
From John Cooper there. And then super chat here from Sergeant Pickles. If the Kraken make the playoffs, RJ, I have to do the first game watch stream with a full tuxedo, betting he has one. Oh, RJ has to do the first game watch stream with a full tuxedo, betting he has one, eating caviar and Grey Poupon.
Oh man, aside from the caviar, I think I can swing that one.
I was gonna say, you got to do the tuxedo, and then you gotta just to like go full troll, RJ. You gotta rip the shirt and show off an SC t-shirt underneath.
There we go. Or I mean, at least maybe I could do just like a tuxedo t-shirt, you know.
Yes.
Because I want to be formal. I'm here to party, but I want to be formal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Joshua, when do we start looking at Team All-Star picks? Well, we talked about it a little bit last post game and on the deep dive, but I'm just going to be pushing for Matty Beniers to be the All-Star for the Kraken, just so he can go and get out there and help push the Calder campaign.
Yeah. No, I think Matty Beniers would be my choice anyway.
Yep. I still can't get over that, Sergeant Pickles. That was an epic super chat there. And then another one here with the add it to the hashtag RJ Caviar Fund.
Yes.
Oh man, so good, Sergeant Pickles. You are absolutely on point tonight. Thank you for the super chats.
I can't do caviar. I don't like. May I substitute my actual favorite food, beef Wellington?
I was gonna say
is that fancy enough for you?
That is just as snooty. This guy loves.
Come on, that's on brand.
Wellington. It's absolutely just as snooty. I think that I would allow that. Oh man. Grizz Smash. Oh, don't worry. Jets are my central team. They've laid an egg or two. They can totally lose. Depends on how they start. All right, so it sounds like they're kind of playing like us then right now, where on the whole it's generally positive, but they can have games like tonight every so often.
Yeah.
Look, definitely like hearing that. Elite transition play by the ECH duo. Thank you very much. Got the whole audience deep in the zone. Let's see. We gotta go back in time, back to 2022, boys. I know. I didn't replace the graphic. Um, let's see. Brian, he has a foot fetish.
I made an effort not to make that comment during the live commentary. Now I'm regretting. I should have just said it.
He should have gone for it for sure. Oh, that's a good one there, Brian. Yes, John Cooper was complimentary of the Kraken's depth and very much acknowledged their performance to date is not an accident. That's really awesome to hear. Because John Cooper, I think that might be the first coach to really kind of go out there and really make that clear. Um,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I felt like, teams have kind of done like, yeah, they're good or whatever. Oh yeah, it's a solid team. Every night in the NHL is a tough one kind of thing to us. But to have someone like him, and he's obviously he's a smart guy. Um, but I do think that he means what he says. I've always felt that John Cooper is a very sincere individual, and when he says stuff like that, I don't think that he's just kind of blowing smoke or anything. Especially to say that after this game, I
Yeah.
think he really means that, and it
Yep.
shows that Tampa, he might have really tried to fire up his guys for this game.
Yeah. It certainly seems like it.
He didn't want to take it for granted, that's for sure. Grizzlies smash Beniers for All-Star, absolutely. See, there we go. Let's go. Alex, Jared, and his clone Jared for All-Star game.
Send two. Actually, yeah, we hadn't even considered the possibility of two potential representatives in the All-Star game.
It is very possible. How many teams get to send two to the All-Star game? Because it's
I mean, well, it depends on, I think certain teams can send three, no? Like if
you
enough of them
can.
are good enough, like you can
Right.
send as many as people think, well, not as many, but as many as people think should
Right.
be there.
Uh,
But yeah, I mean, you could even see like a Beniers and Burakovsky. I hadn't even thought of that, but you could see two potentially.
mm-hmm. Agreed. That is, and I would think that McCann would definitely be up there for that.
Hmm.
Leading the team in goals, that shot that he has, and him and Beniers together, I think would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Burakovsky for the All-Star to be contrarian from Striatic, of course. Who else would self-admit they're submitting the contrarian vote?
And what's more contrarian than the leading point scorer?
Exactly. Let's see. I never went to college, RJ, but I have to give SC fans grief somehow. Much respect, Sergeant Pickles.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. It's Jared with 2 A's and McCann with 2 A's is the clone there. Jules 2-6 seems like a good day to work and not watch the game. Yeah, you could get by just looking at the highlights of the Kraken goals, Jules. You'd be all right there. Scott, what do you say we relax, take a deep breath, and chat about lovely color changes we could make to our unis? Maybe incorporate a little lavender. We talked about that during the live game commentary,
We
talking about
actually
Morgan
did.
Geeky's visor. Yes, talking about the lovely lavender visor that Morgan Geeky has and how awesome that is. It feels very much Be a Pro from like an EA Sports NHL video game. But I like that it's not just smoky. It's got color and like I said, lavender is not something you think of when you think of tinted plastic.
No, it's not. I mean, most of the guys in geeky situation, they kind of just go with the smoky kind of tint. I wonder, what kind of input he had there. That might be a good one just to ask him about in the locker room if he feels
Yeah,
like talking about it.
and I would also be interested to know if in person it looks lavender, because I could see that being something that also is looking a little that way just because of the camera. You never know when it
Right.
comes to those kinds of tints. I
I
don't know
haven't
if you
made an effort to
remember.
look at it in the room, but I could certainly do that. It's something that's right there. It's easy to look at.
Yeah. Let's see. Alex going to make a quick All-Star game roster for the Pacific. It shall be in the Discord. Link to the Discord in the description box below, everybody, if you're interested. We always have a fun time. Lots of great conversations going on about hockey and Seattle Kraken fandom and all that good stuff down in there always. Alex also with the Star Trek voice. Khan! Let's see with all the A's there. Vegas probably sends Eichel and one of their D-men, McDavid and Draisaitl for Edmonton. That makes it tough. Agreed. It could be a kind of a rough division sometimes, especially too when the goalies get factored in because Zegras has to be a lock, and then John Gibson always seems to just magically be a lock for Anaheim as well.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think you're going to get a Kraken goalie in it this year. But yeah, and I'm trying to think. Also, I mean, heck, even San Jose could send two in Meyer and Carlson.
Yep. Yeah, it's for a division that on the whole isn't all that special, especially the California teams. They somehow find a way of making themselves relevant for things like All-Star games. um, just asking ahead, are you still planning for post games over the holidays? If you need a game or two off, no worries, guys. No, we're totally planning on doing this. Yeah, the plan is to do every single game all the time, all
Yep.
regular season and postseason games, I should say.
Yep.
We
We
skipped the
haven't missed one
preseason.
yet. We're not going to start now.
Yep. It would take a lot more than some holidays to stop us. Let me tell you. Uh, let's see. Evan, I will always stand the Eberle McCann goal pipeline, and with Beniers out there too, that line is unreal. Agree, and we saw that Eberle McCann connection tonight for that McCann goal. Eberle with that sweet saucer pass over to Jared McCann, and really Eberle kicking that play all off in the defensive zone. Kraken doing a good job of pressuring the Tampa Bay player with the puck. Eberle sits in that passing lane perfectly, is able to pick off that pass off to the races, get things going for the Kraken. Absolutely love that. And then the sweet saucer pass to send it over to McCann for the finish. Like it's just one of the prettiest plays the Kraken have made all season, I think, start to finish. There's so many different
Yeah.
facets to it.
Right. And just perfect execution all along the way.
Yeah. Jules, oh wow, Kings lost 6-0. All right, don't feel too bad now. As long as Kings lose with us, then it's all right. With an agreement there from Brian, I'll throw in an agreement as well. Let's see. Bazzi, is the Wenberg line struggling lately? Their advanced stats starting to look not so good compared to the rest of the lines. I will say that I haven't noticed them. It doesn't like I just it used to be that like that line was one where it was like, oh, if we're seeing good offensive chances, it's coming from Burakovsky or whatever, or even Wenberg a lot. But it feels like these last couple games, they're probably the line I noticed the least.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, they were really good earlier on in the season. They kind of had their ups and downs. I think they do have their down games, and I think I've noticed. I always seem to notice Andre Burakovsky, but the other two, sometimes I feel like aren't always pulling their weight necessarily on that line. And yeah, but it's tough because to mix up that line, you've got to kind of mess with the chemistry on another line, and you're kind of left with no choice but to leave it together.
Right, and I will say Hackstall seems to clearly be noticing. First off, that line, all three guys -3s tonight, so not very good there. The other thing is, they that was the third most used forward line as far as time on ice is concerned. All of them in the low 14-minute zone, except for Wenberg, who gets a little bit more just as a center and special team stuff. But those 14-minute numbers for them all includes 2.5+ minutes of power play time. So they were actually kind of on pace to play as much as the fourth line tonight. And I can understand why. They just weren't playing well.
Yeah. No, I mean that fits. And I do like to see that from Hackstall too when a line doesn't have it. He's not afraid to play him less.
Yeah. Care to guess who actually played the most amongst Kraken forwards tonight, RJ?
Forwards. Uh Jared McCann.
It was actually Oliver Bjorkstrand. In
Interesting.
part because the Yanni Gord line was used the most, and then Ryan Donato just behind Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. 17.5 minutes for Ryan Donato tonight. Very, very interesting stuff there. Let's see. Can't lose post-game Ironman streak. Exactly, Rebecca. Exactly. Even after such a negative night, we're still second in the Pacific, staying positive. That from Sergeant Pickles. I'm right there with you, Sergeant Pickles. Definitely no reason to be panicking or anything like
Oh yeah.
that. Let's see. Got my mom in here. Are you doing a post-game live after the home opener Firebirds game? No, because the post game live will be done for the Winnipeg game for the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess technically we will be doing it after the Firebirds game, but it'll be a Kraken post game live. I think I will. We'll see how we work that. Do you know what time the Firebirds game is?
It's at like 5 or 6.
Okay. So I may my point is I may have to do that one solo, but
Yeah.
there will be a post game live that night. It'll be a Kraken post game live, but Dylan will have you covered with coverage from that
Oh
Firebirds
yeah.
home opener. We'll have a lot of great stuff for you there. Our photographer Jen is going as well. She's going to have some awesome photos for you. We're going to have that one covered really well.
Yeah, that's on a Sunday. The next day is going to be Monday. Obviously, that deep dive is going to be a lot of fun to record and talk
Oh
about
yeah.
for sure. Yes, it's a 6 o'clock start on the 18th there for that Firebirds game. So would make the other difficult. Let's see here. 2 words: killer bees from Striatic there. Joshua agreeing with that. Walt, it's time. Everybody's on board with that. Killer bees from Joshua was saying killer bees, then Eberly,
Mm.
Wenberg, and Schwartz. Those would be 2 very interesting lines. I think that would be really, really fun. And I do think that, I think I mentioned it last post game too. I think it is time to kind of see a shakeup in the lines here for the Kraken.
Yeah, I think it might be that time. I mean, you look at just the recent run of games. What is it? 4 losses in the last 5. I mean, that is probably an excuse to shake some things up. We'll see where Hackstall identifies the problems as being, but yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, and maybe even get like an Ellie Tolvan in the lineup or something.
Yeah.
A fresh face. See what kind of energy he can bring.
Yeah, exactly. I would not be surprised. Probably won't see it for this Carolina game. But then you,
Hmm.
you you travel back to Seattle and you got a couple days off in between games in which you can work on things in practice and figure out lines. So it wouldn't surprise me if for that Winnipeg game we see some new line combinations out there for the Seattle Kraken. Um, let's see. Edmonton is 3 points down and Kraken have games in hand there from Striatic. Always good to hear that information and be
Yeah.
reminded of it. Sergeant Pickles, very cool, guys. I'll be making a trip to Palm Springs to visit family soon, and we'll catch a Firebirds game. I hope you enjoy it, Sergeant Pickles. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the new arena, all that stuff. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, sounds like RJ is going to need a guest co-host for that post game live from Joshua there. I will. We can always just set up Afra.
Yeah, there we go. She'll help me out. Yeah, I'll be all right.
Let's see. So Alex is saying Martin Jones could be an all-star realistically. Pacific Division looking rough at goalie. I'm telling you,
You know what?
that's why John Gibson will somehow inexplicably be there.
That's true. It always happens. They just pick him and he never tries.
Yeah,
That's the thing. He gives like less than 0 effort in all-star games.
right.
I don't know why they keep sending him back because he's clearly over it.
Yeah, but you know what? Looking at it, it is rough. Like Logan Thompson, and that seems like the only obvious one. Looking at the division, so we'll break that down on maybe a red glare soon. Um, Let's see. Go check yourself. Did they show any fans with a knitted Davy Jones mask in the broadcast? That would have been me. Ooh, I'm trying to remember because we were doing the live game commentary, so I wasn't like totally paying attention.
Right. We couldn't be locked in on things like that. I
Yeah,
don't remember offhand, but that doesn't mean that it wasn't there.
they do love to show those knitted masks and the knitted hats and stuff though. So it wouldn't. I would think you probably have a good shot at it if you go back through. And check if you have the capability of that. The one that I remember because it was the one that I called out on the live game commentary was the one who was all done up with Christmas lights. We had a Kraken fan in the crowd who had Christmas lights that were blinking, just like a whole strand of Christmas lights, wearing them like
Yeah.
a big chain or something. So if that was anybody who's in here, you were definitely on the root broadcast.
Oh yeah.
What do we think of this Ellie Tolvainen situation anyway? So we talked about it on the latest deep dive. Definitely intriguing. It's one of those things that traditionally bringing in a player in this certain situation, a former first round pick who's, 5 years post draft and fallen out of favor with their team. those very rarely really kind of work out where the change of scenery like really kind of makes a substantial difference. However, the Seattle Kraken have bucked that trend and shown us that it can work out with them anyway, in both Ryan Donato and Daniel Sprong. Because as I said in the deep dive, historically speaking, neither of those players should still be with the Kraken, much less producing for the Kraken. And the fact that they are is giving me, hope that they can bring in Tolvainen and he can refine some of the stuff that made him a first round pick in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered that well. I mean, and we did talk about it on the deep dive too. I like it in the context of what the Kraken are doing with their depth forwards, particularly their fourth line, and trying to kind of take advantage of this market inefficiency of players that maybe they're not a top six guy, but but teams generally don't want guys like that with maybe some more scoring ability, not as much of a bruiser. They don't want them in their bottom six, but the Kraken are basically, well, why not? Let's try it. And so far, they've had success. I'm not saying that Tolvanen for sure will have the success that Sprong and Donato have had. But if anyone can do it, it seems like the Kraken are positioned well, given what they've done already.
Yeah, like I said, at this point, Dave Haxtell, the coaching staff, Ron Francis in the front office, they've earned our trust in a situation like this just because they've made it work when other teams in the past haven't, and that's exciting for you know what I mean? Like it feels good to be like that team that can be like, oh yeah, you got a problem, we can fix it.
Yep.
Seriously, this is Alex. Seriously, it's between Martin Jones and Stuart Skinner right now. Lol. Yeah, it is definitely rough stuff in there for the Pacific Division. Chris, I'll be in LA most of January down for a Coachella Birds game. Of course, you come down and I go up in January. There can only be so many Kraken fans in the Los Angeles area at any one time, I guess.
That's
Sergeant,
funny.
I hope you have a good time though. Sergeant Pickles, who leads Pacific on saved above expected? That's an interesting question.
That is Jacob Markstrom.
Yeah, that's right. Saying down there. So I thought Markstrom could be it, but as Walt pointed out, Markstrom hasn't been great either. Just none of them have been great. And Markstrom also leads in saved above expected per 60 as well. Let's see.
Yeah, and then followed by Stuart Skinner at second,
Yeah.
I believe, and then Logan Thompson third.
Yeah. Sergeant Pickles with the obligatory like, comment, subscribe, plug the merch and Patreon. That's right. We'll totally force it on everybody in here. But yeah, we had a lot of fun earlier tonight on the Patreon live game commentary. Just for those reminder that if you're our Terror of the Deep tier patron on Patreon, once a month we do a live game commentary where we all sit together and we watch a game and have a lot of fun. Those are a lot of fun. Got the Red Glare podcast once a month there. My scouting videos are going to start up. I've been working on this Connor Bedard one. If you want early access to those before they go live on the main YouTube channel, another perk of being a patron, as well as the monthly live Seattle Kraken prospect chats as well, which I know I need to officially schedule everybody. I know it was just everything's been going on. I've been dealing with stuff over here on my end, RJ being sick. It's been tough to schedule a lot of that kind of stuff. But I had said last time I wanted to wait till after the Firebirds game so I could talk about the Firebirds on it, and that's still holding. So expect to hear about it, after that game on the 18th that I'll be at. Let's see. Such your thought will be 60 degrees low. I get it. Any idea which game for the next live stream? No, we have not. Like I just said, scheduling stuff has been kind of on hold for us over here while we've been dealing with everything. That is the one aspect of the holidays that does throw a wrench in the works for us as well, just around everything. So we will let you know around the beginning of next month when we have a better idea of stuff.
Yeah. But
for the rest of this
you can kind of figure out the stretch they'll be in. They basically have one long road trip that it'll have to be in.
Because
so
I'm going to be up there.
Sometime between January 3rd and the 12th. There's 6 games in that window. It'll be one of those 6 games.
Yeah, because I'm going to be up there for some of those other road games, so not going to be able to do those most likely either. So there you go, Rebecca Straddick. If you go to a 1-game minimum, Lucas Dostal of the Ducks actually leads goals saved above expected. Probably not going to do that for the All-Star game. Ty, easy to be sad over getting thumped. However, all teams get it eventually. True test here is, can they adjust and improve? In for the long run. Let's go, boys. Ty always coming in here to pump us all up. And I agree. This has been the way the Kraken have responded so far to everything, is that they do respond to that. They do make adjustments, and they do come out and get stronger. I said it on the live game commentary. I think it's going to be rough to make all of the adjustments that they need to defensively between now and the Carolina game in a couple days. But again, looking at that stretch coming back home before that Winnipeg game, that's where I think you could see some real work being done for the Kraken.
Yeah, no, agreed. And being able to just get those practice reps in, that's going to help a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
There some kind of, I don't want to call it breaking news, but an explanation from Dave Haxtell on the Justin Schultz
Okay.
situation I just saw popped up. So here's his quote on Schultz, because remember this morning he did say he was good to go. Quote, I told you guys he was ready to go as we came through morning skate. With situations like this, more information comes in different situations that wouldn't allow him to play tonight. I don't know what his situation is. Right now, I'll label it day to day and we'll see where it goes from there. So not really any clarity there, but
yeah, and it's never like great when you hear them go, yeah, I don't know. Like more info came in and I don't know. Like
yeah,
that's
it's been 2 days since the injury, and to hear I don't know what his situation is at this point is not a good sign.
yeah, no, it's so hopefully he's doing all right. Hopefully he could get better soon. Um, that's always the main focus in a situation like this. But yes, very interesting to
Yeah.
say the least there. Definitely interesting. Um, let's see. Absurdly saying, is there any reason that Lomberg is not going to face any consequences for that hit on Schultz? That makes sense. Alex with the DOPS spun the wheel. It does feel like that sometimes. I talked about this also on the live game commentary with boarding. It's all subjective. But I am surprised that it's not even like a 1-game suspension, just because of the retaliatory nature of it. And just
Right.
because it's retaliatory, then you can easily say there is an intent to injure, because why else are you trying to go and get back at somebody?
Right. Although one thing I found is that the Department of Player Safety traditionally just doesn't care about the retaliatory element. If anything, they believe that's a mitigating circumstance. They've used that in the past, which is just awful.
Yeah.
Whatever confidence we had in the DOPS after that, we were pleasantly surprised by the Alexiak suspension. I mean,
Mhm.
they always show that they are who they are. And this one was baffling to me. And it might have also been because it appeared that Justin Schultz was healthy, and it does seem like one part of their philosophy is you have to actually seriously
Injure
injure
somebody.
someone in order to get their attention. And they're like, oh, he's fine, whatever. They've done that
Yeah.
so many times.
Yeah. No, it's I I have hated how the Department of Player Safety has been run for a very, very long time. I don't feel that it's a well-run organization. I don't feel that, it's called the Department of Player Safety. Part of that is making the game safer, which would involve trying to stop things before they happen, right? So only waiting and punishing hits that actually injure somebody, instead of punishing hits and plays that have the potential to injure somebody, doesn't send the message of trying to stop potentially dangerous plays from happening. And this is something that just goes back so far. I mean, the Tom Wilson Arteri Panarin thing, I remember just going off on that. I thought the Rangers, did a good job of really trying to kind of stand up in that situation and make a statement to the league of that stuff needs to change and needs to be seriously looked at, and they lost that. The league was just basically like, hey, we can't have teams calling out an NHL official body like that. Here's a massive fine, and if you say anything else, we'll start taking away draft picks. And I felt like that was insincere too, when that was an incident of somebody slamming somebody head first into the ice that is one of the top 5 players in the game, one of the reasons MSG can sell out a hockey game, everybody wants to go and see, which is the lifeblood of all sports. It's an entertainment product. You want your best players out there and you want them healthy. And so that was the moment for me in which I kind of like lost all hope in the system, because I was like, if the NHL isn't going to stand up for a top player and keeping top players healthy so that their product, and this is right before they had to negotiate TV contracts too, if they're not going to do it in those circumstances, then they're never going to actually care about keeping guys healthy. And it seems like that's still permeating through the whole thing. It ticks me off so much. Let's see. The NHL has a problem with hits that don't contact the head directly but still lead to major head impact. They need to fix that. Reckless boarding can do as much damage as head hunting. I agree with Striatic there. Let's see. I'll take a concussion over spinal damage from Ty. They are who we thought they were, from Alex. And yeah, I guess so. I guess they had one good day. Maybe somebody was out of the office and the intern took over and they decided to actually do something. Sergeant Pickles, rattle me bones, spin the wheel. Some will get that reference, but in my mind, this is how George Peros sorts things out. Is it still George Peros? I thought he left as part of the aftermath of that Rangers situation.
Yeah, who's the head of the?
It didn't sound like him doing the video anyway.
Yeah, it's still. Well, yeah, I mean, there's other people who do, but I believe it's still Peros.
Still Peros. Wow. All right.
It shows that's his job on his LinkedIn right now. So
okay.
It's just the first thing that popped up when I searched it.
As we all know, all of our LinkedIn profiles are all kept 100% up to date all the time. Let's see here. The potential for injury in that hit looked so much worse to me, and it was so aggressive and unnecessary. It shouldn't matter that Schultz wasn't seriously hurt. I agree with you 100%, absurdly sane. Alex, I was steaming in my seat in Sunrise. Scott Mayfield was able to break a star's ribs without even a minor penalty called. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much of it. Anika, how do you think they'll do at the 12:20 St. Louis game? So looking ahead to things for the Kraken here.
They'll win big because it's Adam Larson bobblehead night.
I was going to say, it's Adam Larson bobblehead night, so everybody's going to be there. Everybody's going to be totally feeling it. And, St. Louis, not a good team. They have definitely
they've certainly had their ups and downs this season, including some more recent downs. The key is to avoid anyone getting messed with by Jordan Binnington.
Yes. Yeah, that is exactly it. But yes, the St. Louis Blues have a real defensive problem. 108 goals against, RJ, for the St. Louis Blues. In only 29 games. They're the only team. They're the only team in their division to hit triple digits goals against so far right now. So St. Louis, definite problems going on there. Only 85 goals for them. And if you think back to when the Kraken were really struggling at the beginning of the season through that Vegas game, that Carolina game, that St. Louis game was kind of the turning point for them. That St. Louis game at home at Climate Pledge Arena was a real turning point for the Seattle Kraken too. And that was when they were at a low point, the Seattle Kraken. And so I think that bodes well for looking ahead to that game on the 20th as well. Brian, good night, folks. Thank you for the Patreon stream, the ECH post-game therapy session with Afra. You're very welcome, Brian. Thanks for joining us. I know it's getting late out there on the East Coast. Have a good night. Cody, Oilers won. Sad face indeed. It's all right though. There's still a couple games behind. There's still a couple points behind us, and got games in hand, so not too bad there. We'll do one quick last call here on comments. Otherwise, want to get RJ out of here. Let him go try to breathe easy after the live game commentary and this post game. You've been quite the trooper, RJ. I know we've been giving you issues for your choice in mustard and cough drops and everything, but really appreciate what you've been able to do here. Cody correcting, sorry, McDavid and Draisaitl won. It's generally how it goes.
We know what Oilers means.
Yes. It means they dragged some poor goalie to the finishing line. Gary, hockey is still fun. Yes, it is. It is still
good comment from Gary.
Awesome. Absolutely love it. It never gets old. Hockey never gets old. So much fun stuff around it. Love that comment. Just hold on here another second, just in case someone's putting in a nice long comment here to talk about. Otherwise, yeah, just you got it later, fellas. Cody, see ya. Otherwise, yeah, thanks everybody for joining us. Thanks again to the patrons who were able to join us for the live game commentary. Thanks again to Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring these post game lives. Really appreciate that. And like I said, thanks to all of you. Still 46 of you in here after a result like tonight, East Coast game. Just means the world to us that you
Oh
all
yeah.
choose to spend your time with us and with each other, and we all get to share in these things together. Really, really awesome, and it always makes these rougher nights a lot better, being able to share it all together and have fun and talk about things. So really appreciate it. And here we will end on this from Rebecca. Night all, wishing RJ a menthol free cough treat after all your commentary tonight. There we go.
Thank you, Rebecca.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Oh, see, there he goes. 2 streams in a row. He's got to end on a coffin fit. All right. Thanks, everybody, so much for joining us. We'll see you all next time.